Charlotte Hawkins.
Good morning, it's 6 o'clock. We're with you all the way through until 9 with Bill and Susanna here from 6:30. First, our top story. The government's been accused of causing confusion for failing to formally announce new restrictions on travelling in and out of COVID hotspots. Residents in 8 areas of England with high rates of the Indian variant, including Bolton, were issued with the guidance last week, but local leaders and public health directors hadn't been notified. Well, Nick Dixon is at the Royal under the radar, so what's happening with enforcement of it? The Union has joined the UK in issuing sanctions against Belarus following what's been described as a state-sponsored hijack of a plane. The international community is calling for the immediate release of the journalist Roman Protasevich, who was arrested by Belarusian authorities when the flight was forced to land in Minsk. Our chief correspondent Richard, if the Belarusians don't comply with this, are we likely to see further action from the UK? US President Joe Biden will meet with the family of George Floyd at the White House today to mark the first anniversary of his death at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. It comes as new policing legislation named in honour of Mr. Floyd continues to be debated in Congress, despite the president setting today as a deadline for its approval. On the Floyd Justice Policing Act, it could reshape the future of policing there in the US, couldn't it? And I'll be speaking to Commissioner John Muller, who you saw in that report there of Yonkers Police Department, to find out more about the changes that have been made and also whether he thinks another killing like that of George Floyd could happen today. Now, a black equal rights activist has undergone surgery after being shot in the head following a party at the weekend. Now, the Duke and Duchess of Cambridge tried their hands at making... Sports news now. Gareth Southgate has delayed the announcement of his England squad for the upcoming European Championship because of injuries. The England manager... Now it's 6:13, time to find out what's happening weather-wise. Thanks very much. Good to have something to look forward to. Well, Good Morning Britain's here all the way through until 9. Bill and Susanna will be here from 6:30. Let's get the news, travel and weather where you are. See you in just a moment. Hello again. Let's take a look at the front pages of today's newspapers now. Now, President Joe Biden will meet with the family of George Floyd at the White House today to mark the first anniversary of his murder by a white police officer. Mr. Floyd's death shocked the world, led to mass protests and turned the spotlight on police reforms in the US and beyond. Noel Phillips has been to Yonkers, a city in New York which has changed its policing tactics to avoid deadly confrontations. And I'm joined now by Commissioner John Muller from... Now 6:24, Will and Jovu's back with today's entertainment news. Good morning to you. It's not good news for Little Mix's Leanne, is it? Because she's had her engagement ring stolen.
I know, Charlotte. Exactly. And I
love
love
looking
those
forward to
films.
having another one.
Exactly. And I think Tim's a brilliant actor. And finally...
Will, thank you so much for taking us through all of that. Good to see you. And coming up next, Bill and Susanna will be here in just a moment. And this morning, they'll be talking to comedians. This morning, let's have a look now at the weather. Here's Alex. Good morning. The European Union has joined the UK in issuing sanctions against Belarus following what's been described as a state-sponsored hijack of a plane. The international community is calling for the immediate release of the journalist Roman Protasevich, who was arrested by Belarusian authorities when the flight was forced to land in Minsk. Our chief correspondent, Richard Gaisford, has this report. US President Joe Biden will meet with the family of George Floyd at the White House today to mark the first anniversary of his death at the hands of a Minneapolis police officer. It comes as new policing legislation named in honour of Mr. Floyd continues to be debated in Congress, despite the president setting today as a deadline for its approval. Our North America